work is we do 3 charms, and then I have a reading that corresponds with each charm. So our first charm is a bee. It's a big bee. And it's brass. It almost has kind of a hornet vibe to it, but it is a bee. We have a $100 bill, so that is definitely going to speak to someone. And our last charm, let me dig deep, is a hospital. So you're going to choose the bee, the $100 bill, or the hospital. It's so interesting. I was just filming for Instagram, and my last one was an ambulance. So I'm like, oh, not ideal. But you know, those are spaces of healing, and where would we be without those things? So good to have around. Okay, so I'm going to read for the bee first. I'm working with the Alchemical Tarot. It is a ginormous deck. They are like 5 by 7. So it's always an awkward shuffle. And I have said my prayers ahead of time for those of you that have concerns about that. I always set intentions before I begin. Okay, so, and I know I'm new to YouTube, but I do this every week on Instagram, so I'm pretty comfortable with my vibe. Okay, bee people. There's a bit of a learning curve for you right now. There might be something you're having a hard time getting. And, you know, what I want for you to do is to be patient with yourself. You will get this. But I have a sense of frustration that this isn't important to you. It feels like it's insignificant in your life. It's a waste of your time kind of energy. And that might or might not be true, but your attitude about it is definitely going to make it a waste of your time. So I want you to think about when you are learning, how can I grow from this? Because I do see the ability for you to grow leaps and bounds here. You just have to put your intention into that. And where will that take you? What will it mean for you? And we think about the bee. They live by a process of repetition. They gather nectar, they do the work, they fall asleep in the flowers. So all good stuff. But sometimes, yeah, things have to be repeated, and it does seem tedious. And if you've already gotten it, it really seems tedious. But I would say I think there's room for you to learn more right now. So hang in there with it. Okay, work or school life, depending on where you're at. Whew, you got some big old stuck energy here. And there is a sense of like, oh my gosh, I just need to be done. I want to be out of here. I can't stand this anymore. And I feel like internally you're very explosive right now. There's something that needs to break free. And there is a sense of needing freedom. So, and this is the Tower, and I've got it in reverse. So for me, with Tower energy, you know, change where you can make change. Sometimes we can't have a big, massive change. We have to finish school. We have to graduate. We've got to stay at our job until the right opportunity opens for another one. And even when it's mundane, but this is a tough economy right now. So what I want you to consider with this is, where can you make change in your life? Clean up your room, reorganize the cabinets, reorganize the closet, clean out the garage. There's always places that we can shift our energy. And just because it's in your closet doesn't mean that it might not affect other areas of your life. You know, when we clean out our closet, a lot of times we bring in new things. We end up getting new stuff to fill those spaces, like an updated version of something. And who's to say that new outfit might not be the thing that gets you a new job or gets you noticed by the person that you want to see you. So just be open to how you can shift your energy. And even in positivity of attitude can also help to create a bigger shift in your life. We all have those hard times. But it's simply, how can I change? How can I shift? So focus on the internal aspect of that. Personal life. You've got some conflict here. There's a sense of kind of having your toes stepped on. So if you're young, that might be parental influence being a bit overbearing. Actually, if you're an adult, that can still be the situation, or kids. So what I would say with that is, I was going to say, try not to take it personal, but I do feel it is personal. But you're embodying this right now. And so I want you to maybe disassociate it a little bit and just consider, okay, this is part of the nature of whoever's being a bully towards me. And you might also be being the bully. And that's something I want, if you are, own up to that and stop. Because nobody likes this energy. If you are on the receiving end, consider that it's partially just about them and you don't need to embody all of that, that you're somehow a failure or less than, because I feel like it's impacting your bones. And I want you to just say, okay, enough's enough. Like, hey, you know what? I really get where you're coming from, but when you speak to me like that, it just eats me alive. And that's beginning to learn good, healthy boundaries, or just like, hey, can you phrase that differently? Because that's really harsh. That's where we learn to grow and become better people. Okay, now moving into next week for you. I like this a lot. By the way, here was your card. That was 5 of Swords. We've got Queen of Wands. So much better, creative, accomplished energy. I feel a sense of confidence for you. If you're female, you're owning yourself better. The other females that might be in your life are in a better place and also showing more respect, more boundaries. If you're male, perhaps there's a female influence coming in that is more what you need and you're more receptive to this person. There's a brightness and a shininess there. And I feel that they see you. This person sees you, whatever gender you are. More strength coming up for you and feeling more confident in growth. So I really like where you're headed. I know it's a little tough right now, bee people, but you know, part of being a bee, despite being an insect, is you can fly above. You are working for the collective of the hive, not just for yourself. And so I feel like you've got some good growth that you're working on right now, and you're headed in the right direction for that. So that looks really good. Really pleased for you. Okay, that is one down. Let us take a look at those people that picked the $100 bill. I'm going to reshuffle this in here. And we'll see what we get for you guys. I know it's noisy, right? Yeah, totally. Okay. And this is my studio where I work. I do read cards out of here. I have a business in Dallas called Tarot Dallas. Yes, and you can say tarot or tarot. Either one is fine. I tend to say Tarot Dallas and then tarot when I'm talking about the deck. So don't get hung up on how that is. Okay. Although we don't say tarot because it's not spelled like carrot, right? Okay, $100 people. Interesting. Okay, so celebration, having a good time. We love this for you. We've got 3 of Cups, so party on. And it really is about entertaining yourself with friends, and you know, perhaps you're going into the weekend where this is going to be the focus. There is an emphasis a little bit on perhaps overdoing it. I have the sense I'm like looking at the grapes and I feel like they're like balloons about to burst. So do watch whatever your limits are and kind of maybe put a focus on that before heading out. For those of you that are female, there might be a bit of an emphasis around your cycle being unusual this week. And so just kind of be aware of that there could be some spotting or it's just a little bit off somehow. So just be conscientious and pay attention to what's going on with your cycle. And work. Okay, well that feels like it's not quite paying out for you. So we've got 4 of Coins in reverse. So you need to be saving right now. It feels like you're trying to pay off some debt, and that's good. But I also feel like you need to keep a little bit stocked away. And we had that $100 bill, so there is a sense of focusing on that. just be conservative. You don't need to go crazy about things, but I do feel like holding on to a little stash right now feels significant. And there's a lot of things that feel like they'll be distracting you and wanting your attention. Spend money on me, spend money on me. Look at Amazon, look at your Instagram, like all the things that are happening. And that actually, it feels like chatter, distraction, not the best use of your finances. So, because I feel like you need to be more stable. And there might be like a freeze on raises at work or something, your job just isn't paying you enough. And so just kind of be aware of it and see how you can navigate it. I just want you to feel safe in that area. All right, so personal life, you also have the Tower in reverse, so some big, heavy, stuck feeling. That was in career for the B people, but for you, it's like, I don't know how to make change here. And it feels like your space even feels a little crowded. So even if you live alone, maybe your friends are visiting or you could be crowding yourself with too much social media. So whether that's TikTok or Instagram, it feels like a cluster of people that really aren't that important for you. And I want you to think about who's worthy of your time. Because we tend to give our time very generously, but that's sometimes where we put the least amount of value until you get to be old like me. And that's where we put the most amount of value because time becomes more limited. But I think you need to put a little more value on yourself in your relationships. And I think that's part of the reason as I look at this, why you're feeling stuck is because you're not, you know, you're worth more than this and you're holding yourself back by saying it is what it is. And so this is where you need to begin to get some deeper understanding of yourself. Who are you? What is your worth? And that's not monetary, but how people treat you. What does that need to look like for you? And are you respecting that in others? Do you treat them the way you want to be treated? Because that's a direct give and take of energy. And so what happens is if we start giving out better energy, then we start receiving better energy. And a lot of times the people that we were around before are like, oh, what's happened to you? You're like being weird. And it's like, yeah, I'm being nice. And I don't have time for people that aren't nice. So that can be part of that. So hang in there. You're trying to grow through this. And as I said with the other one, do shift energy where you can. But I feel like for you, the shifting, rather than being external, I really want you focusing on how you interact in relationships and how can you improve that. And if you don't know, get a self-help book. It's time to start diving in. So there's a lot of wisdom in those. Okay, moving into next week for you, we've got the Emperor. So strong leadership capabilities. This might be you. This might also be someone that is in your life, though, that is kind of taking charge and giving some ideas and adding structure to your life in a positive way. Now, this can also be a man coming into your life or a boss that's stepping up or a parent. I'd just be open to how you want to receive that energy. I do see you being very receptive. Literally, there's hands like going like this. Yes. Now that can be the hand to stop as well, but I see it as being receptive in this moment anyway. And I also see you being more comfortable with yourself in how you are approaching your life. So there's a sense of ease and being a little more self-confident. Yeah, so I like this energy you're stepping into. It's interesting because you've gone from this sort of playful sort of exterior energy and then into something way more internal and like, what do I need to do for me to become stronger? And we've gone from it being very focused on others to more focused on yourself and what you need to do. And I don't mean this that you need to be selfish, but sometimes we do have to go inward a little bit to heal ourselves. So, okay, so your money is about investing in you right now. All right, so let's take a look at those hospital people, and we will go from there. Let me see. I always like to separate all my cards into the deck before I shuffle. That way, if I get a duplicate, like I did with the Tower, there is a reason for it. It's not just a fluke that I was a bad shuffler. Because if you've ever shuffled a tarot deck, they're ginormous. And sometimes they shuffle beautifully, and sometimes they don't. This one is literally, though, my biggest deck. So, okay. All right, hospital people, let's see what we have for you. Okay. Well, that's an interesting card to start out with. So we have 10 of Pentacles. And this is about passing things on from one generation to the next. It can be about finances and stuff too, but what are we learning from the people in our lives? What are they passing down to us? There is a sense of contentment within the family, though, and there's a strong sense of stability that's coming from this card in particular. And the fact that there's been things that you have needed to overcome within this family dynamic to make it stronger, or for you all to be stronger as a family. So generally, though, I would say this feels like you're in a good place. Work life or school, if that is your situation, your heart's not in this right now. It's like there's frustration. I will say you might be being a little immature, that there is room for you to grow in this situation, and perhaps you are focusing a little bit on the wrong thing. Your emotions are getting in the way rather than you need to be kind of running with the analytical side of your brain in this case. And I feel like there's some emotional fragility that's happening. And that's where it's like, you need to pull up your big boy pants or big girl pants and just like own it. Get through this. Yeah, and I know you want to say it's boring. Well, a lot of life is boring. And that's kind of the best part of life, but think about it. In our times right now, like when I grew up, boredom happened all the time. It was every day. And what you learned to do was how to not be bored. But we didn't have cell phones or social media. So there wasn't like, oh, I can scroll to the next and the next and the next. And you think about it, how fast everything moves in your world now isn't really normal, or it's a new normal, but it wasn't this way for thousands of years. And so, yes, you will be bored more easily because your brain is wanting to go so fast to constantly get those dopamine receivers. So how do you give yourself dopamine receivers? Start thinking about that. How can I make this more emotionally fulfilling and rewarding for myself? So you've got some skills you can learn in this area to make this better for you. Okay. Personal life, there's some amends being made. I've got 7 of Swords in reverse. It might not be a true apology, but I feel like things have kind of smoothed over. So there's a sense that things are getting better there. And perhaps there's been a little more discipline on their part, self-discipline on your part, but I feel like there's less conflict maybe than there had been. So I would take this as a win for now, and just kind of ride the wave. I do think you play a part in this. And so, kudos to you for doing it right and doing it well. So, because I do feel like there's a little bit more sense of freedom, or the boundaries have been less restricted recently, which feels good. Okay, now moving into next week. Love this. We've got some Knight of Wands energy for you. So, when we think about the hospital, that is an area of rest and recovery. where we go to heal ourselves, to become a better version of ourselves, or where we go to have a surgery so we can live a more fulfilling life. So I feel like that's kind of what your theme is this week, is like, how do I heal myself? And so next week is looking better. We've got full speed ahead energy, lots of creativity, lots of thinking power going into this. And things are kind of picking up in pace, so that feels good and dynamic. I definitely feel like you're going to embrace your aspect of learning that you'd been struggling with here. This is improving it. And I don't see you looking back. It's like you're taking this lesson, you're learning from it, and you're just moving forward. So I love this dynamic. This looks excellent. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. That is it for this week. Please subscribe, give me a comment, all those things. Pass it on to someone else. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys soon.